Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You know I love tech, and today we're diving into something that's become essential to how we capture and share our world cameras. From the way they work to their evolution, there's a lot more to these devices than meets the eye. We're about to uncover 15 facts about cameras that you probably didn't know, from their earliest beginnings to the cutting-edge tech we see today. So, whether you're rocking a DSLR, a mirrorless setup, or just your phone's camera, stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. All right, let's kick things off by going way back. Imagine waiting 8 hours for a photo. Well, that's exactly what Joseph Nicephore Niepce had to do back in 1826 to capture the world's first surviving photograph. This wasn't your instant Instagram upload, people. We're talking about a groundbreaking moment in history, where light was used to permanently capture an image for the very first time. The photo itself, viewed from the window at Le Gras, might seem simple now, but it paved the way for everything we're about to talk about. Speaking of keeping it simple, let's talk pinhole cameras. These bad boys are about as basic as it gets. No fancy lenses, just a tiny hole that lets light in. It's like a camera Obscura, but smaller and more portable. Light passes through the pinhole and projects an inverted image onto the opposite side. You can actually make one yourself with a cardboard box and some tape. It's a great way to understand the fundamental principles of photography. Fast forward to 1861, and we get the first color photograph thanks to physicist James Clerk Maxwell. This wasn't just snapping a pic with a color sensor. Maxwell used a super innovative technique. He took 3 separate black and white photos of the same subject, each through a different color filter, red, green and blue. Then, by projecting these images together with the same color filters, he created a single, full-color image. Talk about a game changer. This laid the foundation for the color photography we know and love today. Chapter 4. Burst mode's ancestor, multiple exposures, one frame. Think burst mode is a new thing? Think again? Early photographers were already experimenting with capturing multiple moments on a single frame. How'd they do it without the tech? Skill, my friends. They'd carefully expose one image after another on the same piece of film, advancing it. This created a layered effect, capturing movement in a way that was impossible with just one shot. It was a tedious process, but it shows how photographers have always been pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Chapter 5. Shutter speed records freezing time at 1/8,000th of a second. Shutter speed, the amount of time the camera's sensor is exposed to light, has come a long way. We've gone from those 8-hour exposure times to fractions of a second. Some high-end cameras today boast shutter speeds as fast as 1/8,000th of a second. That's fast enough to freeze a hummingbird's wings or a Formula One car speeding past. This incredible speed lets photographers capture those fleeting moments that would otherwise be lost in a blur. Chapter 6. Megapixels. It's not about the number. Okay, let's talk megapixels. We all love seeing that big number on our phone camera specs, right? More megapixels mean more resolution, which generally translates to sharper images, especially at larger sizes. But here's the thing, megapixels aren't the whole story. Sensor size, lens quality, and even the image processing play a role in the final image quality. A camera with fewer megapixels but a larger sensor and better lens can often outperform a camera with more megapixels but inferior components. It's all about that balance. Chapter 7. Seeing the invisible infrared cameras and their secrets. Ever wonder what the world looks like outside the visible light spectrum? Well, infrared cameras can show us just that. These specialized cameras detect infrared light, which is invisible to the human eye. This has some seriously cool applications. Think seeing in complete darkness, detecting heat signatures, and even spotting things hidden beneath surfaces. Infrared cameras are used in everything from night vision goggles and thermal imaging to scientific research and security systems. Chapter 8. Light field magic, changing focus the shot. Now this is some futuristic stuff. Light field cameras, also known as planoptic cameras, capture more than just a flat image. They record information about the direction of light rays within a scene. What does that mean for you? It means you can actually change of an image it's been taken. You can even shift the perspective slightly, like you're moving through the scene. It's like having a mini three-dimensional model of the moment captured in your camera. Chapter 9. From security to smartphones, the rise of motion detection. Remember those security cameras that would start recording as soon as someone walked by? That's motion detection at work, and it's everywhere now. It all started with security systems where cameras were designed to detect changes in movement within their field of view. This simple but effective technology has made its way into our smartphones, allowing for features like automatic gesture control and those fun animated GIFs that react to your movements. Chapter 10. Diving Deep, the challenges of early underwater photography. Underwater photography is no walk in the park even today. Light behaves differently underwater, and there are all sorts of technical hurdles to overcome. But back in 1856, William Thompson took on the challenge and captured the first ever underwater photograph. It might not have been the sharpest image, but it marked the beginning of a whole new way of documenting the underwater world. Today, underwater photography gives us breathtaking glimpses into a world hidden beneath the surface. Chapter 11. Holograms, capturing 3D with lasers and light. Let's talk holograms, those mesmerizing 3D images that seem to float in space. Special cameras that utilize lasers make this mind-bending tech possible. These cameras record the interference patterns created when laser light bounces off an object. When this recorded pattern is illuminated again, it recreates the original object's light waves, creating a 3D image that changes as you view it from different angles. It's like capturing a piece of the 3D world itself. Chapter 12. HDR photography, bringing detail to light and shadow. Cameras have a limited dynamic range compared to our eyes. That means they struggle to capture detail in both bright highlights and dark shadows simultaneously. Enter HDR, or high dynamic range photography. HDR techniques involve capturing multiple images of the same scene at different exposures. These images are then combined using software, bringing out detail in both the brightest and darkest areas. The result? Photos with a wider range of tones and more realistic lighting. Chapter 13. Film versus digital. The debate continues. The digital revolution has completely changed the photography game. But even with all the advancements in digital cameras, film photography still holds a special place in many photographers' hearts. Film has a unique grain structure and a way of rendering light and color that some argue digital sensors can't fully replicate. Plus, there's just something special about the tangible nature of film, the process of loading a roll, shooting carefully, and then developing the images. It's a slower, more deliberate way of shooting that many find rewarding. Chapter 14. The OG projector camera Obscura, photography's ancient ancestor. Let's go way, way back to the camera Obscura. This simple device, dating back thousands of years, is considered an early ancestor of the camera. It's basically a dark room or box with a small hole or lens on one side. Light passes through this opening and projects an inverted image of the outside world onto the opposite wall. Artists used camera obscuras as drawing aids long before photography was invented. It's a fascinating example of how humans have been captivated by capturing images for centuries. Chapter 15. Gigapixel power. Zooming in on billions of pixels. Hold on to your hats because we're talking gigapixels. Gigapixel imaging is on another level. We're talking cameras so powerful that they capture images with billions of pixels. This allows for an insane level of detail and the ability to zoom in to incredible degrees. Think capturing a panoramic landscape where you can zoom in to see individual blades of grass from miles away. Gigapixel imaging has applications in everything from mapping and surveillance to fine art photography and scientific research. And there you have it, 15 cool facts about cameras. From the 8-hour exposures of the first photograph to the mind-blowing capabilities of gigapixel imaging, cameras have come a long way. But one thing remains constant, our fascination with capturing and sharing the world around us. So, next time you snap a photo, take a moment to appreciate the incredible technology and history behind that image. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of cameras, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one.